The thing I found in common with all of us is pain, discomfort. And there's only one way to overcome that. That's to work towards a spiritual awakening.
I've heard it through the grapevine.
Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour, featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I am Olis, an alcoholic in beautiful Oakland, California.
Hey, Olis. Hey, everybody. I'm Sam, an alcoholic in Palm Springs, California.
Hey, Sam.
It is so good to see you. What's been going on?
Life has been busy and crazy as usual.
I figured you were going to say life has been lifing.
Sometimes it life. It's just a little bit crazy. You know, one of the things that came up that I wanted to engage you around is home group inventories. You know, I recently talked to my friend Penny P, and she's doing an inventory for an online group. And, you know, often when groups do an inventory, they invite somebody external to the group in to support them.
What is a home group inventory?
It's done different ways, but the purpose of a home group inventory is not unlike the inventory that we do personally. It's to check on what the health of the group is and what are things about the group that are working well? What are things about the group that are not working well? Are we aligned to the traditions? So it's a sign, I think, of a very healthy group, that the group on an annual or however often they do it, hopefully relatively frequently, will get together and assess how they're doing. What are the changes we need to make? And I was wondering if you've been a part of a group that's done an inventory, and if so, how did they do it?
3 of the groups that I have been a member of have, and there is an inventory checklist that's available.
Yes.
That's really a great starting point, because the biggest part about a home group inventory is that it's kind of like what we do here in so many ways. It's a conversation. It's the people who are in attendance talking about the health of the group and how are we aligning with these things.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I say jokingly when I'm talking to people is, if you want to know how spiritually fit you are, go to your home group business meeting. If you really want to check your spiritual fitness, put an item on the agenda.
Even if it's just cookies.
Exactly. Sit through people having an opinion, right? The guy with 2 weeks is in here like arguing that, right? But it really is about not how we individually want things to be, but what is the best thing for the group. Tradition too.
For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern.
And I love that, because a group inventory really is an invitation for the group conscience, which is how God expresses himself in a group. So I just wanted to know what your experience with that has been. And I'm asking anybody who's listening that has amazing experience to call in or write in and let us know what your experience has been with home group inventories.
Yeah, and if your home group has not conducted a home group inventory, you might speak to your DCM and see what resources they can offer you to help the group do that.
Thank you for talking to me about that. It's sort of a nerd question, but yes, thank you.
Well, you know, we do get nerdy from time to time. We're both sitting here wearing our glasses anyway. Mine doesn't have any tape on the bridge of the glasses, but there was a time.
There was a time, yes. So, you know, one of the things I love about when I get to see you or I get to see Don is it means that we're going to have an opportunity to meet another alcoholic, right?
Yay!
And to just get to know them. And today's guest is Pedro P. And Pedro is right outside of Lisbon in Portugal. And how exciting it is to have an international guest.
Indeed, this is going to be so much fun.
But first,
the news.
Did you know that there are other podcasts that AA produces? There's Our Primary Purpose that is produced by the General Service Office, and Grapevine also has a weekly open AA meeting podcast.
And Our Primary Purpose is good.
Our friend Nathan.
I just listened to the episode where they were talking about the hippies trying to take over AA way back in the 60s.
Day.
Yeah. Well, Our Primary Purpose is the official podcast from the General Service Office, GSO, of Alcoholics Anonymous for the US and Canada. Through interviews with GSO staff and voices from AA history and the fellowship today, they explore how GSO supports AA to carry the message of recovery to those who need it most, which is our primary purpose. Search for Our Primary Purpose in your favorite podcast app or visit aa.org/GSO-podcast.
And AA Grapevine has a recorded online speaker meeting every Wednesday at noon Eastern. The meeting has its own new podcast, Grapevine Weekly Open AA Meeting. It's available anywhere that you can get a podcast. You can listen in your browser, and you can also get information about how to join that meeting live at aagrapevine.org/podcast.
Have you seen the Grapevine Daily Quote Book? It's perfect for morning meditation inspiration.
Quotes are contributed by AA members, many by our co-founders. They were selected by Grapevine staff from years of stories in the pages of the Grapevine magazine.
The 365 quotes in this pocket-sized book offer an inspiring passage for every day of the year. It makes a great gift for a sober friend.
Grapevine Daily Quote Book. It's available at aagrapevine.org/books.
My name is Pedro, and I'm an alcoholic. My sober date is July 10th, 1999. My home group back in New York on Long Island was Serenity by the Sea. My home group now is Rockers in Recovery in Lisbon. That's where I'm living now. I'm living in Portugal. I've been here for about 8 years, and recovery is still at the center of my life. And being kooky, that's why I fell in love with AA. So
We are kind of kooky, aren't we?
The land of the misfit toys.
Fun. Oh, but we're the land of the misfit joys.
Yes, it's true.
So you got sober in New York. Is that what you were just saying?
yeah, my parents moved to America when I was 10 years old. Yeah, I grew up on Long Island, and that's where I did my drinking, and that's where I did my sobriety. I didn't leave Long Island. I didn't venture out too much to drink or to get sober.
When did you start drinking?
Drinking, started with the disco generation, the clubs and the clubbing and all that. And that's where it all starts, the champagne and the...
Did you Studio 54?
I didn't leave Long Island. But very quickly, I found this freedom to just not be shy, not be scared. Alcohol just opened up all the doors, everything was possible. So alcohol worked, but, I was the binger, I was a weekend drinker. When I started, I might go 2-3 days. You never know. Might be a day, might be 3 days, might be 4 days. When I went into Alcoholics Anonymous and I started hearing some of the stories about, alcoholics that had to get up in the middle of the night and grab a bottle out of the freezer. They kept a bottle underneath their bed that they had to take a sip in the middle of the night to control their shakes and stuff. Maybe I'm not an alcoholic. I thought about that, but then I said, well, then my other choice is to go back to doing what I was doing. And that's not an option. So I stayed. And eventually I realized that there's more than one type of alcoholic. And the thing that attracted me most about AA was the kookiness, and it was the fellowship, and it was this new place with these people that were just as kooky as the people in the bar. There's not much difference between AA and the bar, except for the hours.
Minus the blackouts, like we all remember.
Oh.
I mean, until you get to be of a certain age, and then, it slips again.
The blackouts had a lot to do with me staying in Alcoholics Anonymous, because what happened is at the end, towards the end of my drinking, after about 2 or 3 drinks, I didn't know it was a blackout yet. I didn't know it had a name. I just know that after 2 or 3 drinks, I didn't remember much about what happened the rest of the night. So I said, well, what's the point of even going drinking? I don't even enjoy the whole night because I don't even remember it anymore.
Right. I'm paying for drinks for somebody else because it wasn't me.
Yeah, so that was a high price to pay. I mean, I left college. I went to work in a restaurant. I had gotten married, and my son was 5 or 6. The bar was more important. There's a high price.
Pedro, I really appreciate you saying you came to Alcoholics Anonymous and there were people who had stories you couldn't relate to, right? And in the book Alcoholics Anonymous, it says that, we have a common problem and a common solution. But the common problem doesn't mean it looks the same on all of us. Some of us are blackout drinkers. I was not a blackout drinker. Some of us are 3 DUIs in, some of us are not. Some of us get here, we still have a job. Some of us are facing vehicular manslaughter. Like there's a broad range of the ways that the consequences look on us. But the truth is that, like page 44 says, when I honestly wanted to, I found I couldn't quit entirely, or I couldn't control how much when I started. And either one of those qualifies me to have the common problem.
The thing I identify with most is a spiritual malady. And it's it's the spiritual malady. Yeah, that's what we all have in common. And that's it.
The dis-ease. I'm
I love
so
that.
uncomfortable in my own life. Yeah.
I mean, where I was uncomfortable. I was dis-ease before I started drinking, and then I got the dis-ease of the drinking, and then I had the dis-ease of early recovery, and today I have serenity.
And today you have serenity. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And I found that in my experience, the rooms of recovery are pretty much the only place where I have been able to have those really vulnerable and extremely valuable conversations with people about the dis-ease, about the fact that I am just maladjusted to life or was. The things that we talk about are not things that quote unquote normal people tend to talk about.
What's the difference between recovery in the US, Long Island, and recovery in Portugal? Is it notably different?
I'll just give you my experience because I don't want to speak for Portugal AA,
Mm.
right? But my experience, what I found, and when I came back to Portugal because my parents were getting to their 80s. I'm an only child, and I had a debt to pay. It wasn't like it was a sacrifice. It was my amends to my parents for all the years, for all the nights, for all the pain, for all the that they went through. And I came back. That was the goal. I eventually actually worked here in a rehab for a little over a year, and I may be involved in another project in the next year or two. But I found in recovery here in Portugal, and I found this, I did some work with sober housing in Argentina one time, a bunch of years ago. And that is that alcohol in this culture is a shame. I mean, it's a shame in our culture, but everybody knows I'm alcoholic, you know. But here, no. In the Latin culture, an alcoholic is real shameful. He's the shameful person of the town, and there's not many people. And so, I
Mm.
found that a lot of people just stopping, and I saw that, and I've heard this in working with clients. Again, in my experience, okay, I went to Spanish AA. It was more about you need to be responsible. You need to be a husband. You need to be a father. You need to go to work. That's what you need. So once you stop drinking and you start being a father, and you start being a worker, and you start being responsible, that's recovery.
Mm.
That's what I found to be. And what's lacking in that is God. What's lacking in that is the higher power, is the spiritual process. And what's lacking in that then is that bond of fellowship that we have, talk about that special talk, that language that we all understand. And I found that's what I found lacking a little bit. I found that having a sponsor take you through the steps, sitting down, reading the big book together, which develops this incredible bond. The steps are wonderful, but the process, that's what I found to be a little bit missing. And so I found this wonderful group. If you come to Lisbon, you have to find a meeting, right? Well, this is what we have. So we have people from all over Europe and even America living here in Lisbon. And then we have all these stores that pop into the meeting each week. And that brand there, they speak the language again of sponsor, steps. And I didn't find that as much in the Portuguese meetings. That was just my experience. They're there, and I'm sure people are doing them, but I think it's a cultural thing.
I hear you saying there's not as much focus on the unity side of it or the sponsorship side of it, which says to me there's not as much focus on the service side, right? Because, often when we say service, we don't just mean the things we do at a group level, but we mean sponsorship and sitting down and reading the book with people. And so you're finding that in the expat community, right, where the tourists come, but not so much more broadly.
I think it's more the spiritual piece is what I'm finding that's missing the most. They have their group, people don't know that to do service. Maybe that it's such a religious country that some of the people I've worked with that were Portuguese have a little bit more of a difficulty going to the higher power and to the God thing. I don't know. I had that issue, right? Because when I came into it, I go, God, oh, my aunt used to make me pray. My grandma used to make me pray, and I had to go to church. My grandmother had the rosary beads, right? So when I came in, I was like, oh, no, not God, but I had nowhere to go.
What happened that changed it so you were like, oh no, not God, and then the spirituality became important to you?
I think the higher power thing was important thing, doing that, just the change of the word,
Mm-hmm.
the power of the group. When I went to a meeting, and even today, like sometimes I'll go to, like we have Fatima here in Portugal. We thought of Our Lady of Fatima. So that's about an hour and a half from here, the sanctuary of this, where this miracle happened. And when I have friends here from time to time, I go there. And my mother was really, really treasure Our Lady of Fatima. And we'd go there sometimes just
Hmm.
for a couple of hours or whatever and have lunch. But when I went there, I felt something. When I go there today, I feel something. When I walk into church, when I go to a church, there's just something. There's just that silent, that, hmm, I got that in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I still do. When I walk into Alcoholics Anonymous, within 15 or 20 minutes of being at a meeting, there's something special. And you can't deny the miracle of recovery. How does it one day I want to die because I just don't see what my purpose is? I don't know where I'm going. And then the next day, I'm a non-drinker, and I'm happy. That's as close to a miracle as I've come.
How did service, how did it show up for you, and what does it look like today?
Well, service was, in my home group, that's, I mean, I got sober. My sponsor's about to have 50 years sobriety. My first sponsor before him would have about 55 now. I
Ooh.
like the old guys. I like those guys with time. At the time, they had 20, 30 years. And,
Uh-huh.
they taught you service. We rotated service positions. Yeah, so it was all about that. And, the coffee commitments. I love to speak and go everywhere. We get together and speak at different places. And yeah, so I did everything in our home group except the treasurer and chairperson. I didn't want to do. When I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I went back to school. This guy that had a bunch of years in AA said, Pedro, you should think about becoming a counselor. You love so much to help people. You always like to speak, and you're so enthusiastic. You should look into it. I was a painter. I had a little painting business. It paid my bills, but I had no purpose. And when I went to school and when I started working in the field, I had a purpose. And outside, I'm not working in the field today, but when someone calls me and says, hey, I got someone that needs help, I get butterflies in my stomach. I don't know. There's not much I know how to do in life. My purpose, and the only thing I've ever gotten somewhat right, is not drinking and helping somebody else with my experience. That's what Alcoholics Anonymous gave me, purpose. There's a purpose in life, right? I mean, we hear it in the little blue card, right? But still, that is our primary purpose if you think
Yeah.
about it.
But when we learn this, and I hear this in your story, when we learn how to not drink and to be of service to other people, and that begins to treat our spiritual malady, the world opens up. Like you are talking about, I got drunk on Long Island. I'm living in Portugal. I showed up for my family. Like the world begins to open up. And what would you share with someone who can't see the possibilities coming, right? Because when we get here, our life is usually really small. And you're here sharing this big, beautiful life. How do you convey to people that you're helping? The place that you're in isn't the whole story. There's so much more to come.
I think that the way I convey the message is just to lovingly let them know it happened, what happened to me, what my story is, and it'll happen for you. There's a beautiful life out there for you. I mean, you got two choices. You can stay where you are, or you can take a chance, but there's this beautiful place, this beautiful life. And I think that the magical thing about Alcoholics Anonymous still goes back to that Bill and Bob sitting there and talking to each other and identifying with one another and finding this bond. And there's no therapy, there's nothing.
Nothing substitutes one alcoholic helping another.
And I've heard that statement over the years about give it a try. I think I've heard it say, yeah, we'll refund your misery.
We'll gladly refund.
But actually, it's not us. We're not the ones who are going to refund your misery. Life will.
Life will, yeah.
Life will. But that's that thing of if you're willing to give it a try and really not just like
half measures avail us nothing.
When I first came into AA, I was not in AA. Yeah. I was around AA.
Yeah, attending the meetings.
Yeah, and running away as soon as they were over.
Yeah.
And then I became a member of AA, and I had a home group, and then I got a sponsor, and I worked the steps, and life was continuing to life, but my reaction to life was completely different.
Yeah. Pedro, you talking about, no matter where you've lived, your calling has been to help other people, right? And I can't help but think about the way that Bill talks about miracles in his story. He talks about how forget the musty past in my idea of miracles and, you know what I mean? The church thing and, right? The ugliness of some of the trees, right? But then he says that sitting right across the table was Ebby. And Ebby wasn't drinking, and Ebby was a low-bottom drunk, and it was a miracle. And I think that's why we tell people about what we used to be like.
Yeah.
So they'll know, if I can do it, you can do it. It's hard to convey to people there's a big, beautiful, wonderful, would you say, a beautiful, amazing life waiting for you?
Yeah, it's not. Life is not that difficult. We just make it difficult. And just to think about miracles, one time I love to write and journal. I actually wrote a book of meditations. But anyway, it was really from journaling something grew. You can do anything when you're sober. And I wrote, the miracle is that which has no logical explanation. Getting sober? There was no logical explanation how I was ever going to get sober. So it's a miracle.
And we get to be miracle makers by carrying the message to other people and helping them have this experience where they get sober when they couldn't not drink. Like that's the pass it on. Like what I'm passing on through the message is the opportunity for other people to have a miracle in their life.
And that in itself is challenging sometimes because though we do that and we share our story and we share everything that's happened and we help people, not all of them make it. And that is heartbreaking sometimes to us, but we have to let go of that too. Whatever impact we have, we may not see it in the next week or the next month. We don't know. Maybe they won't get sober for 3 or 4 years. But whatever love or whatever message we put out there, that message can never be erased from their mind again.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful way for you to be the light. Thank you for that. I want to ask you in closing, the thing that you think you want people to know about you, about your journey, about what's possible, like what's the boiled down to like the distilled message? What is it that you want people to know? What have you learned that is the most important thing to pass on?
I like to think of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps as a program that would serve everyone because the message of Alcoholics Anonymous is one that for everyone. We are imperfect beings living in an imperfect world, but the universe itself is perfect. Every tree knows what to do. Every animal knows what to do. They know exactly where to go. I see my garden. My pumpkins are learning to grow. All my vegetables. Who does that? That's just by following the guidance of the universe. And that's what I think that we lack sometimes as human beings. We have these expectations that are put out in front of us, these temptations. And if we just connect a little bit more to the universe, and just go with the flow of love. And I think that's what AA is, right? What do we learn? We learn to have faith. We learn to have respect. We learn to show up, just chill. I mean, basically like one day at a time. It goes all back to that, right? I could always stop drinking for one day at a time.
One day.
Couldn't put one in.
Just for today.
Together.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. The message is love, fellowship.
Thank you.
Pedro, thank you so much.
Thank you both so much for having me, and thank you for your service.
I'm Rick Kay from Laurel Grove, Maryland, sober for 953 days. I subscribe to the Grapevine because The stories in there are amazing from all over the world. I love the pictures of the rooms. It's inspiring. And I'm the Grapevine district representative. And at every meeting, my sponsor wants me to tell a joke. So I pull a joke out of the back of the Grapevine at every meeting I go to, and I say it. And now people are looking forward to me when I go into a meeting. They say, Rick's here. We're going to get a joke. I'm a Grapevine district representative because they needed one. I asked. They said they didn't have anybody filling the role in the district, and I jumped right in. I needed a service commitment. I needed to be committed to this program more than just meetings, and it's really been rewarding. So, yeah, the Grapevine's important to me. It's the best piece of mail I get every month.
You can support Grapevine by subscribing or purchasing books and other items at aagrapevine.org/store.
1 year in print for $36 or 1 year on the app for just $29.99. That's less than $3 a month or 10 cents a day for AA.
A young man shares at an AA meeting.
Well, this hasn't been a good day for me. I mean, I wasn't centered. I wasn't in touch with my feelings, and my inner child felt deprived. I just wasn't comfortable in my own skin.
Hey, I'm hard of hearing. What did he say?
He says he's hungry, angry, lonely, and tired.
It's really not that funny.
Thank you for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for Alcoholics Anonymous as a whole, but we do share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about Alcoholics Anonymous, visit aa.org or search Alcoholics Anonymous in your city.